In this tutorial, I will show you how to take a Rhino model into SketchUp so that you can run a Sefaira analysis of that model. The first thing you want to do is clean up your model so that it's really just a simple surface model. I created some new layers, roof, floor, walls, glazing, and shading, and I want only thin surfaces, almost like a thin shell model of this more detailed model on these layers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You can see now that I've gone through and I have changed my wall surfaces and my roof surfaces to my new layers, and let me just show you the last step is to change the windows. An even smarter way to do this would be to use the split command. So then if I hide all of the curves, I should now see just a very simple, clean model that has floors. You can hide this deck. Floors, windows, roof, walls. And then the last thing I need to do is set the model so that the lowest floor is at 0, 0, 0. So I'm going to select everything and save. So that none of it's a basement. This building actually does have a basement, but that won't be included in the model because it's not occupied. One of the features of Rhinoceros that I really like is that you can show a color for your backspaces. Under your preferences, display modes, under shaded, you have this back face settings. Instead of using front face settings, let's make a single color for all back faces and make it a really bright color that you don't normally use for other things. And then go ahead and close that. So what we can see actually in my model is that a lot of my surfaces are oriented so that the back face is facing out. I need to flip those surfaces so that the back faces are facing in. So literally the command is flip to turn them around. I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of my surfaces where it's needed. And this is ready to be exported. I will select it, go to File, Export Selected. You want to choose DWG, which I know is off the screen right now. Sorry about that. And then change your options. Click the Options button and just select 2004 Solids and hit Export. Open SketchUp and go to Import. Find the file that you just exported from Rhino. Should get a message saying that we have some 3D solids. And that looks much better. Once your model is in SketchUp and you have installed the SketchUp plugin, you can then start tagging your elements so that they are labeled as SketchUp walls, floors, and glazing. To do that, you can simply select the elements. Then I can right-click, you'll see Sefaira plugin, tag as wall, roof, or glazing element. Go ahead and do that for your entire model. If under extensions, I select Show Sefaira plugin, I will get this additional window that opens. And I can click the Entity palette and then click Show Entity Types, which will mark my model and let me know if I have assigned everything correctly. Red will show the back faces, so you can have another opportunity to make sure that everything's oriented the correct way. Looks like I do have one little piece of the model that's flipped the wrong way. Great, so now it looks like everything in the model is oriented correctly, and we're ready to run our first analysis. Go ahead and save your model. I can close my entity palette and open my analysis window. Let's make a new project. Select what type of building it is. This happens to be a house in Silver Spring, Maryland. And then click Set Location. Click here to expand your properties. Sefaira automatically selects an HVAC package for your project based on the building type. You actually don't have many options in the architectural version to change that, so we're going to have to leave it how it is. You should select a baseline. ASHRAE 90.1 is a good place to start, and then you should look up your ASHRAE climate zone. Climate zone 4 happens to be appropriate for this particular model. Before changing anything here, I would go ahead and run an analysis by clicking the Update button. When the analysis completes, if you close your properties by clicking the Close tab at the bottom of that window, you will see these three dials. The first one being your EUI dial, and because I'm in the red right now means that I'm above the Architecture 2030 goals, which is indicated here. You will see the energy segments dial, which tells you how much of that energy is being used for each of these different sectors: heating, cooling, lighting, equipment, fans, and pumps. And then you'll see your day lighting dial, where blue is the best, that's well lit, yellow is overlit, and gray is underlit. For a further breakdown, you can click on the Element Performance tab, which is an interesting Sankey diagram that is showing heating on the left and cooling on the right, and it allows you to roll over and it tells you exactly which features of your model are contributing in a negative way, which would be shown in red, or contributing in a positive way. So in this case, my wall conduction losses are letting me know that my wall insulation is a major problem that's leading me to lose heat. And then my infiltration losses are also a problem. So that would inform me that I could go back to my Properties tab and take a look at my wall insulation value. If I click on it, I can see that my wall insulation right now is only at 11, an R value of 11. So if I were to just bump that up to an R value of 19, then I could rerun my simulation and see if that's better. Once the analysis is complete, you can click on your History tab and you can see your progress in trying to get closer to this design goal, the 2030 challenge of only 12 EUI. As I've been making adjustments to my properties, my model is going up and down. Keep playing with the sliders. You can increase or decrease your insulation, increase the performance of your glazing here, and even increase the efficiency of your equipment and the quality of the lighting. The last thing I'd like to show you is the web interface. So if you click Upload to Sefaira, this will upload your physical model into the Sefaira web application. Click Continue. Select Sefaira Architecture. Give this a project name. So here's the project. If I go ahead and click on the word Baseline Concept, you'll see a new interface that allows us to change the building orientation, the structure, which has to do with the mass and we only have a couple of options. It's low mass, medium mass, or high mass. We can change our infiltration here. You can change the percentage of glazing per orientation. So this is a quick way, without having to change the physical model, that you can test out which features might help you best to achieve your EUI goals. And here on the side you'll see that we can address a number of topics: the energy source, water fixtures, envelope, and HVAC. And I did want to show you that in the HVAC tab is where you can turn on natural ventilation. If you have designed a strategy that natural ventilation is key, then you can talk about cross ventilation or stack ventilation. The percentage of openable glazing, and then select your terrain type. And let's go ahead and run the analysis. Here's my EUI. This is my total energy consumption. And then one thing that I like to do is that you can create strategies. So if I go back to my envelope and then if I wanted to try another strategy, which again was about shading and my core structure. This time let's also talk about infiltration, and let's say save. In strategy 2, I might want to make my U factor even a bit lower. That's probably too low. My horizontal projection a little bit less, but this time I have vertical projections, so let's add those of about 1 foot. And I'm going to change my core back to medium. This is a lot of variables to try in one strategy. Based on the changes that I made in this strategy, we can now see that actually my EUI went up a little bit. I removed my horizontal shades, I added vertical shades, which does seem to have helped my cooling. My cooling loads went down, but my heating loads went up. And that could be because of the change in thermal mass. So by creating strategies is an interesting way that you can quickly play out changes to the design without having to use the physical model. And that's it for today's tutorial. Bye.